You know, I was finishing dinner, I was sitting down, I was relaxing, and I said, you know what? I probably should do my whole jam report for last month. I probably should do that. It's one of those things that I just keep on, for some reason, putting off. Like, why can't I just have a little bit of consistency? But we're here now. I know it's mid-June. Listen, I have a pattern at least. I have a pattern. Anyways, welcome to my monthly jam report, whatever I'm calling it, for the month of May. Yeah, we started in March, kept it through April. We're going to give it May as well. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the response is. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Just to give you all a little insight into what I'm listening to outside of the channel, what I do in my personal time, some albums I've listened to, my top streaming from Spotify, where I primarily do my listening. And yeah, that's it. So let's just hop right into it. Well, let's start off with the streaming off of Spotify, which I'm noticing is always giving me the 65% energetic. Like, I'm always getting energetic out of it, which I don't know. I don't particularly find myself as like not low energy, no, but I wouldn't consider myself like high energy in my listening. But whatever. Okay, top tracks. Not Like Us, of course. Kendrick Lamar, the whole Drake Kendrick Lamar beef that was happening. I mean, come on, Kendrick won that. And Not Like Us is an incredible track. Love Times Love, that is from Mr. Benson. Love George Benson, and so. I've been listening to that track a ton, actually. Overture is from... Hold on. Overture is actually from Hanya Rainey, if I remember correctly. I don't know why it slipped in my mind, because it's such a simple title. I'm pretty sure it's from Hanya Rainey, because I've been listening to a few of her albums, actually, which we'll cover as we move on. But it's just the opening track on the album, so I've listened to the album a few times, and of course that's going to end up on the most... listened out of it. Watergate No Enemy, that's going to be by Fela Kuti, which we covered that track actually for the first time here on the channel. It's just a really fun track to listen to, and I love the message and the lyrics actually in there. And then Cult Leader, which is going to be from Tech Nine, who is another artist whose album I've listened to the first time. I've never listened to a Tech Nine album, and yet that is what I did last month. So, Hanya Rainey, like I said, really cool pianist, a singer-songwriter in a more ambient kind of tone. I listened to two of her albums, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Tech Nine, like I said, a rapper who I've never listened to, but I saw a performance of him performing with an orchestra, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so I decided to check out one of his albums. Massive Attack is always a good time. Probably the most well-known, of course, trip-hop group. Everyone knows them. I was just listening to a lot of them. I actually really like their EP, Ritual Spirit. I think that's actually a really sensational little 4-track EP from them. David Sylvian, I mean, duh, he's going to be there. I don't know what I was listening to in particular from him, but I'm always listening to him. He's always in constant rotation. And then the band High on Fire, who I also just discovered with an album that they released, which I listened to, hence why they show up here on the list. So that's why these artists and tracks show up here. But let's go ahead and move on into the actual... Oh, didn't mean to open that. I opened one of my videos that I had. I meant to move over to the chart, which shows all my albums here. So here we go. Yes, you do see it at number 1 there. And this is just the order that they popped in. This is not like a ranking. We'll talk about favorites from the month here. Tech Nine, all 6s and 7s. He has apparently released a lot of albums, and this seemed to be one of the ones that was highly recommended and rated on RYM. So I gave it a listen. I think that he is an exceptional rapper, really fast. A lot of great lyrics, really interesting beats as well. Sometimes very dark, very conceptual. But I was actually very impressed by the album. I'll say it's a little bloated. I'll be honest, it's a little bit bloated. But like I showed on the top tracks, Cult Leader was probably one of my favorite tracks from the album there. Then you have St. Vincent with All Born Screaming. St. Vincent is an artist that like I've kind of occasionally passively listened to, but I've never actually actively really gotten into her. But I think that this album was so cool. I mean, it's dark, it's exciting, there's a lot of twists and turns. I feel like she hits a lot of different interesting directions. I mean, rock, and to me, like, I don't know, kind of these folk pop. I mean, they're like, she hits a lot of different avenues, and I was very impressed with the album. Then you have Hanya Rainey once again. This is actually a collaboration album. I can't remember who she worked with, I'm sorry about that, but Inner Symphonies. So now, while I haven't listened to a lot of this other composer, the music here reminded me a little bit of Philip Glass in that it's repetitive, but it's very meditative and ambient. I think that it's a fantastic album to listen to. I found the melodies really engaging. It has kind of this classical adjacent, ambient, minimalism kind of feel. And I've actually been listening to that album quite a bit, and that is where the overture in the top tracks is from. But yeah, and then Hanya Rainey, I also listened to her album Ghost, which moves things into more of an ambient pop direction, kind of like a bedroom pop singer-songwriter. But once again, if you really like those beautiful, blissful, kind of light piano melodies, then I think you'll like that album. I do prefer the Inner Symphonies, but that's just a personal preference. Ghost is also a really cool album. Then you have the band English Teacher, which actually one of you guys, I should have pulled up your name before. One of you actually had suggested that I listen to this from the last Jam Report, and so I went ahead and did so. Listen, you called it out, so I would like to actually, call out who actually recommended this particular album. Hold on, I can pull it up real quick. Sheldon Howes. Okay, Sheldon, you recommended that I listen to this album, and so I did. This album, This Could Be Texas. Okay, really, really, really great album. And I just see here that, you said if I enjoyed Wet Leg that I would enjoy this band. Mm-hmm. Can I say I really like Wet Leg? I have one of their albums back here somewhere, actually. But this does remind me of Wet Leg a little bit. But can I say, like, even deeper? Like, the musicianship is really fun. I love the playfulness of their singing, and yet at the same time hitting, like, serious strides. I think the instrumentation and the different twists and turns they take is really cool. I was really, really impressed by this album. I had a great time listening to that one. Beth Gibbons, Lives Outgrown. Beth Gibbons, lead singer from Portishead. Once again, trip hop extraordinaires. Beth has certainly stepped into her own right. I think that this may be, I don't know if I can call it this, but I think that this is primarily a folk album, but Beth just reaches deep into her soul and brings out some absolutely beautiful vocals, melodies like you would expect from her. The instrumentation around her, I'm putting this in a folk direction, but it has elements, of course, you would hear of like trip hop, elements of pop in some ways, but there's a dark beauty to this thing. I mean, this is really, really impressive. Excellent album from her. Then you have Brian Eno, Holger Suke, and Peter Schwam with Sushi, Rodi, and Rybukin. So obviously we got some big names here, right? And I just listened to this out of pure curiosity. I'll admit it's not my jam personally. The Jam Report is not my thing. It's like a free jazz, free ambient kind of situation. And I will say it's interesting at points, but it doesn't really keep my attention. I will say that the percussion and drumming from Peter Schwam, I believe, was probably one of those good focal points that kind of kept me entertained. But I think it reminded me a little bit of David Byrne and Brian Eno. Oh my gosh, you guys know the album I'm talking about. Bush, Ghost. I don't know, I'm forgetting the name. It reminds me of that, but less. That's the best way I can describe it. And I wish that it was more. Then you have, like I said, that band High on Fire, a metal band. Cometh the Storm. I think that this band is really, really cool. This album's really good. I would say that their sound reminds me closest of a band like Mastodon, where it has kind of that heavy, sludgy vibe, but still thrilling and exciting to listen to. The title track I would highly recommend, especially for that ending outro, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, that they have. I mean, it's just one of those scream your lungs out with the band as they're going. Really cool album, and I actually really like the artwork as well. That's kind of part of what attracted me to it. And then the final band and group that we have here, I've never heard of them, but Ghost Note with their album Mustard and Onions. To be honest, the music is like a modern jazzier version of listening to like what's his name? Gosh, I have a horrible memory sometimes. James Brown? Oh, that's so bad. Am I misremembering his name? Yeah, James Brown. Okay. I don't know why, it was confusing to me. Like, especially the opening track, you're going to get hints of James Brown in here. But then the band becomes more into their own sound and moves into their own sound a little bit. I think the album was fun to listen to. I'll admit that for myself personally, it wasn't one that was particularly memorable, but it was a decent listen as I was listening to it. So that is my jam report for the month of May here. I would say my favorite albums out of this month probably going to be, it's going to be Beth Gibbons with Lives Outgrown, English Teacher. I would say this could be Texas, and then I'd probably give it to Hanya Rainey with the Inner Symphonies album, which I think is a very beautiful, beautiful listen. So that is my jam report. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Please let me know if you happen to listen to any of these artists or listen to any of the albums here. Of course, if you have a random recommendation that you may think that like I wouldn't cover here on the channel, like with my regular rotation, but maybe I'll check it out on my own, toss it on there. Maybe I'll give it a listen. I don't know. I already have my own list, obviously, as you can see, of things to listen, but I don't mind tossing one or two in there. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the report. Come back next month, hopefully, to see what I'm listening to. And I'll see you all later, guys. Bye.